Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Python tutorial series. Today, we're diving into two concepts that are absolutely fundamental: the input function and variables. Understanding how to get information from a user and how to store that information is the key to building programs that are interactive and dynamic. So let's get right into it. First up, let's talk about the input function. Before we can do anything with data, we often need to get it from the person running our program. How do we do that? Well, the input function is our tool. It essentially pauses the program, displays a message to the user, and waits for them to type something and hit enter. The syntax is super straightforward. You just have the keyword input followed by parentheses. Inside those parentheses, you can put a message in quotes. This is called a prompt, and it's what tells the user what you want them to enter. And here's the crucial part. Whatever the user types is then given back to our program, and we can save it in a variable to use later. We'll break down variables in more detail in just a moment, but for now, just know that's where the user's response is going to be stored. Alright, let's see this in action in our editor. Let's say we want to ask the user for their name. We can create a variable, we'll call it name, and then use our input function. Inside the quotes, let's add our prompt: enter your name. Okay, let's run the program. And you can see it's displaying our message. I'll enter the name Mike and hit enter. So, nothing happened. Or did it? Where did the name Mike go? Well, it didn't just disappear. The moment I hit enter, that text I typed was captured and stored right inside our name variable. To prove it's there, we need to tell our program to show it to us. Let's use the print function on our name variable. Okay, let's run this again. I'll enter Mike one more time, hit enter, and there it is. Mike is now printed to the console. We can even make this a bit friendlier. Let's print hello and then add our name variable to it. Let's run this, and this time I'll enter John. Hit enter, and it says, hello, John. What we just did here is called string concatenation, which is just a fancy way of saying we joined two pieces of text together. Don't worry if that seems a little confusing right now. We'll cover strings in much more detail in a future video. Now that we've seen how to get user input, let's properly explore the concept of variables. We've already been using them, but what are they? In programming, you can think of variables as labeled containers or boxes that you use to store and manage your data. They let us hold on to information temporarily so we can access it, use it, and even change it whenever we need to throughout our program. Assigning a value to a variable couldn't be simpler. You just write the variable name, use a single equal sign, which is the assignment operator, and then give it the value you want to store. This value can be text, a number, a list, just about anything in Python. Let's go back to our editor. Let's create a variable called name and assign it the value Mike. Now, if we print the name and run the program, you can see we get Mike as the output. But what happens if we change the value on the next line? Let's add name equals John. So, which name is our variable holding now? Is it Mike or is it John? Well, always remember, Python runs your code line by line from top to bottom. So, when the program first saw name equals Mike, the variable was pointing to Mike. But as soon as it executed the next line, name equals John, it updated the variable. It's no longer pointing to Mike. The new value is John. So, if we print the name variable again after that change, you can see we get John as the output. This shows us that the value of a variable can be changed or modified at any stage of your program. Okay, so we know how to create variables and assign them values, but you can't just name a variable whatever you want. There are a few very important rules to keep in mind. Let's go through them one by one. So the first rule we have is a variable name can be a combination of letters, both uppercase and lowercase, numbers, and the underscore symbol. That's it. No spaces, no dashes, no other special characters. The next rule says that a variable name cannot start with a number. It can start with a letter or an underscore, but if you try to start it with a number, you'll get a syntax error. Next, variables in Python are case-sensitive. This is a big one. A variable named name, all in lowercase, is completely different from a variable named name with a capital N. They are two separate containers. And the next rule we have is that you cannot use Python's reserved keywords as variable names. Words like while, if, for, or none already have special meanings to the Python interpreter, so you can't use them for your variables. And for the last rule, variable names that have multiple words, you can use either camel case, like username, or snake case, like user_name. The Python community generally prefers snake case, which is what I personally use. The most important thing is to choose one style and be consistent with it. So, those are the key rules to remember when you're naming your variables. And that's a wrap. Congratulations! You now have a solid understanding of the input function and variables in Python. The input function lets you make your programs interactive, and variables give you the power to store and manipulate data. By combining these two concepts, you're on your way to creating much more dynamic and interesting applications. Thank you for joining me in this video. In our next tutorial, we'll dive into more exciting topics to level up your Python skills. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more Python tutorials.